Welcome to this video showing how we can link architecture models to MDO using Multilink as integrated in the online collaborative environment. Here we can see four disciplinary tools that together can be used to size a simple supersonic business jet. Our architecture model looks like this. Several functions and components are defined and system level and component level quantities of interest are associated with these elements. They define their inputs and outputs that need to be optimized for sizing the supersonic business jet. We can access Multilink online and log in using the same credentials as for the OCE. This is Multilink's main screen, and here we can, for example, change the name of the project and start linking tools to components and quantities of interest. To get started, we import design competences from the OCE design study. In this case, we import it directly from a commandos file. As you can see, now we also have these four competences as defined here in Multilink. Each one of them come with defined inputs and defined outputs. You can see some information about them. And then we can go to the quantities of interest and components and import our Adore model. We see several components with associated quantities of interest and several other system level quantities of interest. Now we can start connecting these elements to our data schema. For example, the MTOW, we can connect it by selecting the element from the tree, aircraft weight WT, and like this, the XPath is selected and the status changes to connected. We can do the same for altitude. We can also directly paste an XPath to establish the connection. The mapping matrix helps us to keep track of how the architecture components are mapped to disciplinary tools. For example, the altitude is needed by 3 of the 4 tools, and the MTOW is outputted by the structural tool. A completely filled matrix would look like this, where all the components and quantities of interest are associated to different disciplinary tools. And like this, it could actually be used in an architecture optimization loop. We can also use Multilink to verify that the selected mapping from architecture to XML schema is implemented correctly. We can do this by selecting an architecture from an Adore file, then selecting initial product data, which would represent the input file for the analysis. And here we can see the different parameters of our architecture. For example, we have an aspect ratio of 5.5, and then we can download the map file and verify that these values are the same. Indeed, here we also see an aspect ratio of 5.5. We can do the same for the output. We select a representative output file, and already we can see that indeed values are the same. For example, the lift, the same value. So in this case, the mapping has been implemented correctly. Thank you for watching this video about Multilink and some of its features for mapping architectures to MDO workflows.